In exercise 13, we will be using borehole T data or time-based quantitative data to create a frequency histogram of all of the arsenic measurements, a custom color table, a contour map of the high arsenic values on each sampling date, and a time-based animation. Start by selecting the histogram option from within the Borehole Operations T-Data drop-down menu. Set the T-Data track to arsenic. Uncheck the time filter for now, because we're going to start by evaluating all of the arsenic values without regard to the sampling dates. Activate the Peripherals option, turn on the Title option, and set the primary title to arsenic and the secondary title to (all dates) end parentheses. Click the Continue button. Notice that the data along the x-axis ranges from 0 to 400, with the vast bulk of the measurements falling below the mean of 11.9. Given that the high values are very anomalous, it's important that we create each of our concentration maps using the same colored table so that the low to high concentration colors remain constant. Click on the File Save option and save this diagram as arsenic histograms all dates.rw2d. Click on the X icon to close the histogram program. Now, let's create a custom colored table. Within the main RockWorks menu, click on the Project Manager tab, expand the project tables, expand the Map Model tables, and right-click on the Color-Filled table. Click on the Add a Color File table within the pop-up menu. Type in arsenic concentrations for the name of the new table that you will be creating and press the OK button. You will now see a blank color-filled table where you can type in value ranges and choose colors to be used for representing those colors within maps and block diagrams. Click the Palette button within the toolbar on the left. Select the single-ranged sub-option. Set the minimum data range value to 0. Set the maximum data range value to 400, which corresponds to the arsenic concentration range. Set the increment to 20, which will result in 20 color subdivisions. Set the color scheme to min-max. Pick any colors that you like for the minimum and maximum colors. Set the cycles to 1.
Uncheck the reverse order high to low checkbox so that the color scheme will increase from the low values to the high values. Click the OK button. You will now see 20 value increments with corresponding gradational colors. To adjust these colors, click the Palette button again. To continue, click the Exit button within the toolbar located along the left side of the dialog. Now, let's create a map depicting the arsenic statistics. Select the Statistics Map option from the Borehole Operations T-Data pull-down menu. Set the T-Data track to arsenic. Activate the time filter located at the top of the menu. Set the time filter settings to exact. Set the date to 2/14/2017. Click on the Main Options tab and set the map type to Z equals highest value. Click on the Output Grid tab. Set the name of the grid model output file to arsenic highs 02/14/17.rwgrd. Click on the Gridding Method tab and set the algorithm to inverse distance. Click on the Options tab and turn on the Decluster and Smoothing options. In addition, turn on the Logarithmic option. This will prevent huge outliers, such as the 400 arsenic value within DH03, from overwhelming the interpolation. Enable the 2D grid map. Activate the colored intervals and select the custom scheme. Click the Edit button within the Custom Colored Table page. Click on the arsenic concentrations color table that we just created, and then click the OK button. Turn on the labeled axes, map overlays, and peripherals options. Click on the Map Overlays tab and activate the Borehole Locations option. Activate the symbols and borehole IDs. Click on the Peripherals option and activate the color legend. Finally, click on the Continue button. RockWorks will read the arsenic measurements for the indicated date within all of the enabled boreholes, pick the highest value for each location for that date, interpolate a grid model, store the grid model under the name arsenic highs 02-1417.rwgrd, and generate a color contour map using your custom table. Note that depending on the interpolation methods that you experimented with in the previous exercise, the contours you create may look slightly different than those displayed within this image. You are encouraged to experiment with the various interpolation and display options until you find settings that you are satisfied with. In this example, we changed the modeling method to auto-kriging to accentuate the directionality of the plume and added contour lines.
Now that you have the map settings established, maps for other dates should go quickly. But first, let's turn off the map title because it will clutter the final animation. So, Step 1, click on the Main Options tab. Step 2, select the 2D Grid Map tab. Step 3, click on the Peripherals tab. And Step 4, uncheck the title option. Now, click on the Playlist button located within the upper right corner of the menu. When prompted for the playlist item title, type in Arsenic 02-1417 and click the OK button. Leave this window open, but note that the item has been added to the playlist displayed within the main RockWorks menu. Click on the Time Filter tab, change the exact time filter to 5/15/2017, click on the Playlist button again, name this version Arsenic 05-1517 and click the OK button. Another look at the main playlist will show this new entry. Change the time filter to 8/6/17. Click on the Playlist button and enter Arsenic 08-06-17 for the item name and click the OK button. One more to go. Change the time filter date to 11/18/2017. Click the Playlist button again, type in Arsenic 11/18/17 and click the OK button. You can now close the Statistics Map program. Click on the Save button within the playlist and save the playlist as Arsenic Statistics Maps.rw playlist. We purposely left out a step so that we can show you what's involved in changing items after they have been added to the playlist. Specifically, all of the items are currently configured to save the grid model as Arsenic Highs 02-1417.rwgrb. Although this is okay for the first item within the playlist, the other 3 will need to be changed in order to morph the models later on. The solution is to start by double-clicking on the Arsenic 05-1517 item. This will display the item and its unique settings within the playlist page. Click on the Output Grid page and change the file name to Arsenic Highs 05-1517.rwgrd. Click on the Save Menu Settings and Return to Playlist button. Repeat the process for the other 2 items within the playlist.
Now, let's generate the 4 grid models by clicking on the Process Playlist button. If all goes well, we should see 4 new RockPlot 2D tabs that display contour maps depicting the grid models for the 4 different sampling dates. We're now ready to move on to the final step of using these 4 grids to create a morphed animation. Click on the Datasheet tab to access the RockWorks datasheet. Select the File Open option and load the file titled animategrids.rwdat. This file contains a list of the 4 grids that we created and the dates that they represent. launch the Grids to Contour Map Animation program that is located within the Graphics Animate pull-down menu. Configure the program such that it is reading the correct columns from within the datasheet. The transitional frames generated by the morphing process determines the smoothness of the animation, the size of the animation file, and the amount of time required to create the video. We recommend that you start out with fewer frames, for example 5, and then keep doubling that number to find the optimal configuration. Click the Continue button and wait for the program to generate and display the video. This example, based on 20 transitional models between each pair of grids, took about 2 minutes to generate and produced an MP4 video that was about 400 kilobytes in size. Click on the Playlist button and type in Arsenic Plume Migration Animation for the item title. Close the Grids to Contour Map Animation program menu. Notice that the playlist now includes the animation step. Uncheck the other items where the 4 grids are interpolated. Double-click on the Arsenic Plume Migration Animation step. Click on the Grid Display tab. Change some of the contour settings and add some additional options such as background image, gradient vectors, and borehole location symbols. Given that you have turned off the grid interpolation steps, clicking on the Process Playlist button will only reprocess the Arsenic Plume Migration Animation step. After a minute or two, you will now see an animation showing the changes that you just made to the Arsenic Plume Migration Animation step within the playlist. Adding the steps within this exercise to the playlist provides many advantages. For example, let's say that we just found out that the location for DH03 was incorrectly entered into the borehole manager. No problem. We would just correct the coordinates for DH03 within the borehole manager, enable all of the items within the playlist, click on the Process Playlist button, grab a cup of coffee, and return to all new maps and a corrected animation.